Well, it looks like we're here. Hopefully, all's going to be cool for us today. No issues, we hope. So, hello everyone. Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. Like to try to get my greeting out of the way first instead of waiting till I'm done with my chit chat and getting into the topic. Otherwise, I might forget. So, hello. So I'll wait a few more minutes before I get right to the topic. But yeah, we're here. Excuse me. Already having throat issues. Hang on. So I tell you, it seems like my throat can be doing really, really good until the day I'm getting ready to do a show. Then it's like, oh, you want to do a show today? I'm going to give you issues. It's like every time. So I know some of you missed us or missed me last week since Patrick's rarely ever gets a chance to join us. He's been so busy, let me tell you. He has a lot on his plate between our other two pieces of property, equipment that needs repaired, etc., etc., etc. Oh, and that reminds me. So I was editing a video. I think it was from one of my lives where how I take sections out that, mostly the instructable parts, the educational parts, and then make separate standalone videos to put on my main channel. And I can't remember what the topic was, but I'd done that, et cetera thing. And as I was editing it, I'm like, oh, I know it would be perfect little thing to overlay here. So I found that Yul Brenner GIF little video clip thing. I was able to insert in there, and when I put it in there, unfortunately, it was kind of blurry, which bummed me out. I couldn't find one that was clear, but it was so cool how when I dropped it in there, it lined up perfectly when he was doing this with me saying it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Some of you will know if you like, musicals, The King and I, or Yul Brenner, you'll get it. But I was so glad. I was like, oh, I don't always think to do stuff like that, but it's so fun when I can add stuff like that. So anyway, last week we had a really good time with family. We ended up just staying pretty much just hanging out at the property down the road the whole time. And it was definitely needed with just all the things we've been going through lately. It just seems like we've been kind of getting hit hard from every side. If it's not something just sad and tragic, it's something that, oh man, another massive thing we got to fix, or another big bill just sudden out of the blue, which is kind of what made me think of this topic for today. Excuse me. So anyway, the point being, it was nice to get away. It was nice to have my family here. And especially when my sister was leaving, I started crying because I'm like, man, we only get to really see each other once a year. And it was just so hard to watch her go, but it was really nice. We played a lot of games out there. Well, I shouldn't say I did. I tend to enjoy when it comes. A lot of times I totally get into games, but this last weekend I was just more like just wanting to just sit back and chat with people, chat with family, and watch people play the games and just have a good time out there. Playing the badminton, playing some games that other people brought, and I call it the beanbag game because I hate the name. I guess another name for it is sacks, which makes sense because they're sacks. So it was good. It was definitely a much needed time. So and before I continue, if there's anybody coming in new to my lives here, and I know I'm not the only one. I saw this happening to another channel recently where she had to start her live stream over. She had to start it 3 times, so she had to start it over twice. So as such, I always have a backup stream to make things go a little bit smoother if I get cut off from the YouTube's end, because it's something, I don't know if it's a glitch on their end. I don't think it's intentional. It just, I don't know. It's weird, but suddenly it'll just stop. But it's not my internet, because I know when it's my internet, because I lose all connection. Where when this happens, I'm not losing connection. So anyway, the point being, I always have a backup stream ready to go. Sometimes I have to fall back on it. Sometimes I don't. And we have a nice smooth show. I love it when that happens, but it is nice having a backup all ready to go. So that is always linked in the description box of the first stream, so you'll know where to go if I get cut off. Just keep in mind, I keep that stream private until I need it. Then I make it public. And so you might not be able to access immediately if you don't give me enough time to get in there. I am so sorry. This is really irritating. Let me get another drink of water here. So a couple other things I want to mention before I get into the topic. So I did decide to, since I took last week off from shooting videos, except for my Monday, this and that. It's the only video I shot last week. I did get busy and start making a bunch of fingerless gloves for the fall that I'm going to sell. So all the ones I'm making right now are 100% cotton, no acrylic. A lot of the ones I've made in the past were acrylic. This is like my favorite pair right here. So yeah, I'm going to start selling these for people who are looking for some fingerless gloves for the fall. I got that, say, coral. I got a burgundy. I don't have to try all of them on. I got this fun color here. This is the cuff. And then this. So I really like these. It's kind of nice for that in-between weather, or when you just want trying to keep your hands warm and you want your fingers free. So, and then, at the current time, I don't usually give prices on my channel just because it could change at any time, because shipping prices change. I swear they change the prices of shipping like every few months anymore. It's crazy. But currently, for United States residents, it is $35 a pair. That includes the shipping. So anyone who might be interested in, I'm working on one more pair. I got a black pair. I think I showed the forest green in the blue jeans, faded denim. And then I'm going to finish up the black pair. So I'll have 8 pairs ready to sell. And then I'll see how those go. And I don't want to stock up on a bunch of cotton yarn unless I can see how well they're going to sell. So we'll see. And then a couple other things. My tomatoes are getting ripe. This is one of the mortgage lifter tomatoes. I can't remember. I'm sorry if it's somebody in the chat or somebody watching this. Sometimes I forget who sends me what, but somebody sent me some seeds to the mortgage lifter tomatoes. And this is one of the smaller ones. I mean, there's smaller ones than this, but they're going to be a great tomato, I can tell. I got one out there that's like this. It's oval shaped and it's that big. It's still very green though. So in my dehydrator back here, I've got started today on dehydrating to make my tomato flakes. So I've got videos on that, and I love putting up my tomatoes this way because they take up so little room in storage than just canning them like I used to do. And I can use them to make any of the things I'd normally use my canned tomatoes for. I just got to add water. It's great. And I flake them. I don't powder them. They take up a little more room flaked than powdered, but keeping them flaked means they don't turn into a brick in the jar when you open the jar. And then one more thing is I did go ahead and start dehydrating up some bee balm, the lemon bee balm. And I know that Tina is in here and she was asking me, and I know I answered this before about the oregano smell. Well, here's something interesting. So I opened this jar after I put some of what I dried in there just because I really want to try it for tea. And the smell dried, I think, smells even better. And the lemon scent comes out a little more in its dried form. You can still smell the undertones of oregano, but looking it up, that is normal for bee balm to have that oregano smell, especially since they are closely related. So that'll be fun. Oh, no. Okay. One more thing before I get in the topic. We did finally butcher those extra roosters, cockerels. We got up bright and early. We decided, let's get up. Well, I always get up bright and early in the morning. And I shouldn't say bright because I get up dark and early in the morning. It's still dark when I get up. So even in the summertime. So what we did was we went out there and took them off the roost one by one, so I didn't have to be chasing them around the backyard. So we butchered 5 cockerels. We left one because that one's the lady's going to come pick it up tomorrow, so that one has a home. And then one of my females that had stopped laying. So, oh wow, thank you, Joni. Appreciate that. Really, really appreciate that. At any rate, so yeah, it's just now the feed was just like they were just going through that feed. But now that I got rid of all those teenager male chickens, all of a sudden it's like whew, back down to normal, even though I still have 14 chickens. I still have the cockerel that's going to a new home, the rooster, and then the 12 hens, the 12 remaining hens. So, and 4 of those 12 are still young. They haven't started laying yet. I think I've got probably at least another 2 months before they start laying. So anyway, that's it for all my announcements. So let's get into these topics. I was going to try to pick, excuse me. I was going to try to pick 5 topics, but I'm like, no, I mean, I can think of many more, but, and I can think of many more that I've covered a billion times, but I decided I'd just start with the 3 and maybe, later on do another set like this. So I've talked a lot about power outages because, well, that's so common here. And I know for a lot of people, I mean, I think everybody experiences at least one power outage in their lifetime, where here it's just like, oh, guess what? It's another power outage. So we just had another one, 14 hours long. I don't know what happened. We always make the assumption it was a tree because we got big trees and we had some stormy weather. So even though it had been cold, like 2 weeks ago, it was really cold all week long. Then last week it got nice and warm, and then suddenly the rains came. And when that happens, you're more likely to have trees fall on the line. So yeah, we were out for 14 hours, but of course, you know us, we're ready to handle power outages and the like. But here are some things that are fairly common, in the fact that it can happen to just about anyone, but maybe not happen even on a yearly basis, or maybe every 5 years, every 10 years, every 15 years, whatever it is, even farther than that. And the first one is, I have a family member that's going through this, is if you have a septic tank, you can at any time have a drain field failure or the septic tank itself. So just an overall septic failure. So you got to be prepared for such things. So a lot of times, you have a lot of more preparedness channels, and I kind of am one of those, but a lot of times when they focus on this stuff, they're usually focusing on it as a massive grid down situation where the whole world is whatever, you know what I mean? It's a polar shift, it's a whatever the latest topic is of fear mongering. Not saying some of these things cannot happen, but some things are so either A, unlikely, or very rare that it doesn't get people in the right mindset of thinking about preparedness. They're thinking of, oh, most people are going to think that can't happen here. But when you think about the fact that septic tank or drain field or dry well failure can happen to anyone, if you have a septic tank, that is, of course. Even if you're on city sewer, You think what happened in 2020 when people were out of toilet paper, so they were just using whatever and flushing it down the toilet. Because it surprises me the level of people that have no education on what should and shouldn't go down the toilet. It just, whether you're on septic or city, it doesn't matter. There's certain things you don't flush down the toilet. Paper towels are some of them. Coffee filters are some more of them. I'm assuming I'm still here. I noticed the chat just got really, really quiet. So please, everyone, let me know if you're still here. And maybe nobody, everybody's just listening and doesn't have anything to say. So let me see here. Let me fix this. Okay, good. Thank you. Happy to learn. And Dab. Okay, good. I appreciate that because, and that's fine. If you don't have anything to say, that's totally fine. You don't have to. I just like to make sure it's like as many times I get cut off, I'm like, oh no, not again. So with that said about that, obviously, if you have especially like a drain field failure, because one thing is that a drain field is said to last about 50 to 60 years, and then it can fail. And a lot of this is also going to depend on the health of your septic in general. So, let me go back. I'm sorry. Let me back up. So I was talking about 2020. So people were flushing everything down there and causing just massive issues with the city sewer, like massive. So when these things happen, you need to make sure you have some kind of backups. So obviously, if you've got a compost toilet or something like that, you're fine as far as the toilet goes. And even if you don't, like I linked to a video I did 2-3 years ago in the description box down below, a bucket. And even if you don't have a place to dump a composting toilet material, even just putting a garbage bag in there, a heavy duty one, making sure you have compostable material to throw in there, such as wood shavings, even just sawdust, dry grass clippings, anything that can compost and that will soak up the liquids and also keep the smell down is going to help. And then if you have to, tie it off and dump it. I'm not dump it and don't just throw it anywhere. You can have it, you can put it in the garbage as long as you got a good heavy bag. I know it sounds horrible, but if you got all your like especially things like wood shavings, things that are very absorbent that will soak up the liquids, you really don't have to worry about it. But that's one of the things I talked about, and anybody can do that. So, but I recommend you go check out that video I linked to in the description. I can't remember what else I talked about, but having options for that, and also kind of have a game plan for what about all your gray water. Because if you've got a septic tank and your drain field isn't working, you can't be running your gray water down there either. So where's that going to go? You have a backup plan, a game plan where, let's say, the water from your laundry, especially if you're using all natural soaps, this shouldn't be an issue. Or all natural cleaners. Have your gray water, like from your washing machine, figure out a way that you can have it go out into your garden areas and drain out there. And then you're making the most of the water too. For washing your hands or whatever in the bathroom, in the kitchen sink, or even washing dishes, have containers to wash in and then take the gray water and go dump it instead of letting it run down the sink. There's a lot of things that you can do, and it's really not that hard. Yeah, it's going to be extra work until you can get the repair work done. But, it's just these kind of things you got to think about. So, and then of course, the big one is, this is another reason. I think wood pellets. Oh, you're just saying wood pellets are great. Yeah, I was thinking that too. And I've seen other types of things like pellet type things that are made that people can use. I would assume things like the cat litter and so on and so forth would be great. And then, well, Maddie says you can even do 2 buckets, one for liquids, one's for solids. So, like the liquids, the urine is a great fertilizer for your garden too. I just recommend watering it down first before you throw it on anything. But tomatoes and corn apparently love it. So, just find out if you have a garden, what likes that best. And then that way you're only having to worry about the solids when it comes to dumping them. So, but anyway, having money in savings is the emergency fund. You should always have some kind of emergency fund. And just like building up food storage, it can take a while, especially if you're on limited funds, to build up an emergency fund. But it's a matter of just putting a little in there at a time, whether it be in the form of a jar and sticking some cash in there or whatever. Because if you have a drain field failure, it's going to cost thousands of dollars to either replace it, repair it, or whatever. It can cost that much. So it's just one of those things to think about. Now, something that happened to Patrick again recently. So we had to go up the mountain to check out our other piece of property again. Oh, I think I told you guys we had that fire. I think it was 2 weeks ago on that last live show that we had. He had to go up there because there was a fire, and I hadn't had a chance to tell you guys what happened. It was our neighbor who owns a piece of property right next to us was burning some stuff, caught a big old stump on fire. It wasn't really on our property or that close to our property, so that wasn't such a big deal, but he still was able to go up there and use his equipment that was there to help put out the fire. So while I don't remember if it was that trip, I think it was that trip. So, or he went up there again. No, it was that trip. He's coming back down the mountain, and this is what happened the last time he got a flat. Because of the mountain, the type of rocks and gravel that's around there, you got to have some pretty heavy duty tires. And the last tires he had put on our truck were not as heavy duty as they should have been. He was thinking they'd be good tires, but nope, got a second flat. And this time it was like, okay, if I'm going to be running up and down this mountain, I'm just going to have 4 new tires, and I need the good ones. I need the ones that can handle going up and down this mountain and not have me keep getting flats. So one thing is obviously making sure you have a spare, which everyone should have a spare tire, but not just have the spare. Check your spare on a regular basis to make sure it's in good condition and it's aired up. Because you might forgot, maybe you switched something out, maybe your spare went bad and you got a new tire and you never got a new spare. You got to make sure that's in good condition. And also another good thing to make sure you have on hand is a patch kit. A lot of times you can patch if you get a flat tire, I mean, you might not be able to fix it on the road, obviously. It'd be something you'd probably have to do at home. But if you get a patch kit, you can repair your own tire. And they're not very expensive. In fact, my son, he recently got a flat and he had a patch kit on hand and repaired it himself. Patrick always has a patch kit. Sometimes you have flats that are, maybe it's a torn tire, the patch kit's not going to work, but just look it up, tire patch kit, and they're not that expensive. And it's definitely a lot cheaper than taking the tire in and having it patched at a tire shop. But as in this case, and also, oh, by the way, it happened to my sister and brother-in-law. Before they came here, they got a flat tire, and in that case, they had to get 4 new tires, not just 1 new tire, 4. And the cost of tires anymore is just incredibly expensive. And you got to make sure you have enough money set aside that if you get a flat and you can't get that kind of replacement, you may have to get all 4 tires replaced. Doesn't always happen that way, but it can happen. So, um, just another good reason to have some money set aside, for these types of emergencies. A drain field failure, a flat tire. And then the third one I was going to talk a little bit about. And yes, this is one I've mentioned before, but I don't think we think about it enough. There's just a lot of these just average common things that we don't think about enough, even if we see other people go through it. And that is, um, if there's maybe you suddenly become ill with something, whether it just be some kind of cold or flu or whatever virus going around, or maybe it's something far more serious, or you injure yourself like I did. I think it's been a couple years now where I tore the ligament in my knee. And the one thing I didn't realize until recently, I should have put it together, but now that I'm thinking about it, is that a torn ligament takes far longer to heal than a broken bone. Far longer. And when you have a torn ligament in the knee, it can be very difficult to get much done. Or if you have a broken ankle, um, it can be really hard to get stuff done if you can't really walk around and move. So, aside from just having the ability to try to take care of yourself, that's part of being prepared. That's why I'm so happy I'm growing arnica as well as the comfrey for helping to heal sprains and broken bones and tears, ligaments, and so on. And it does help a lot. I didn't go to the doctor for the tear in my knee. I figured out what it was and exactly which ligament it was that was torn by studying images of knees, of all the parts and pieces. And I'm like, yep, it's that one. I know it's that one. And so the having them know, once you're able to figure out what it is and having the knowledge on how to take care of yourself in that situation, that's going to save you a lot of money, for one, so you don't have to go to the doctor. And but the other thing is, what are you going to do about all the chores and all the things that you have to get done, that need to get done? Do you have a backup plan? I mean, if you're married, you have kids or whatever, obviously you're going to have someone that can help out, but do they know how to do these things? Have you kind of shown them? Do you have the ability to teach them how to get these things done? And I'm not even just talking about, like, washing dishes. Like, everybody can figure out how to wash dishes and scrub a tub or a toilet. But I'm talking about things like, it's this time of year. I remember one of my followers a couple of years ago, she broke her ankle right in the middle of garden season. And man, you got stuff to harvest, you got stuff to can and dehydrate, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, how are you going to get all this stuff done when you're hobbling around, or maybe you can't move at all? um, so make sure that you kind of think through. These are things you can write down. Maybe have a notebook. Okay, if this scenario happens, okay, this is what I might need help with. And hang on, let me answer this text message. Okay, that was an easy one. But yeah, write this stuff down, whether it just be notes to yourself, to think of what kind of things can I put in place to cover getting this stuff done and taking care of myself or somebody in your home, and or the instructions for somebody, if it's something that needs to be done and you can't do it and you need help doing it, whether it be a family member, somebody from the outside, a friend, maybe not even somebody that lives in your home. Just some things to think about. And because I tell you what, when I tore that, thankfully it wasn't in garden season, and I was was it? I don't think it was. I think it was in the winter that I tore that ligament. But I was still, it takes a good year for a torn ligament to heal. And so I was still having to be really careful on it come garden season. But even if it wasn't garden season, I have a lot of stuff to do. I have a lot of stuff to get done. I do all my sewing on a treadle machine, and I use both feet for that because I have little feet for one, and it's a lot easier to use both. What can I sew? I wasn't able to use my left leg for sewing, so I had to do it with my right leg only, which made it take longer, or sew by hand. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's like, can you still get your important projects done? Or do you have a backup plan for it? So those were the three main things. Let me look at. Okay, I'm just double checking to make sure that. Okay, I talked about medical supplies, which, by the way, yeah, and having your medical supplies on hand. So, we've got crutches, we have bandages, we have wraps, we have all kinds of stuff. Actually, we didn't have the crutches at the time I hurt my knee, or, that like within the first few days, but it just so happened that shortly after that, I'm like, man, I was like, I wish I had some crutches. Or no, I did have crutches. I did have crutches. So I was really glad to have those crutches. I could hobble around with the crutches. It was a time before when I twisted my ankle really bad and I was crawling around on the floor. I couldn't even get up at all because it was it hurt so bad. Well, Patrick, I remember thinking, man, I wish we had some crutches on hand. And it was shortly after that, by the time I was able to actually walk on it, Patrick was at the dump and he saw a pair of looked like brand new crutches just laying there. Somebody didn't need. So we got some free crutches. And so it was nice having those when I hurt my knee. But with that said, I have a video that I linked to in the description box that I did last year, maybe it was, on medical essentials. My list of medical essentials. Excuse me. This is all the stuff I can edit out when I'm shooting these videos, not doing them live. But unfortunately, you got to hear all my stumbling and bumbling and saying stuff wrong. But at least I'm human. I know I say that a lot. But yeah, anyway, so I linked to that video in the description on the medical essentials you might want to look into. So there's that. So that was that one. And then I had two other topics, but I think, what is it? Oh, I know what it was. I was going to talk about storing grains and flowers. And then I realized I got to look at, I have so many videos. I have over 2,500 videos, even with all the ones I've removed from my old channel, my main channel. I still have over 2,500 videos on there. I can't believe it. So I tend to forget what I've covered and what I've covered recently. So I did do a recent, just a few months ago, a live and then a separate, took the video out of that and did a separate video on storing grains and flowers. I'm like, oh, I already did do a recent update. Duh. So that was one of the topics. And I just realized that today. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm not talking about that today. Unless anybody has a question for me that hopefully I'll remember to double check and see if it's in there. But I do have another topic. So unfortunately, just one more. And I'm sorry my throat is being so ornery today. Like I said, last couple days, even this morning, it was great. Everything was fine until about an hour before I was going live. I'm like, really? Figures. Okay, so this next one, the second topic is, I'm not really sure what to call it. The truth about a healthy lifestyle. One of the things being, though, this was the other title I had picked out, but it's too long. And it was, a healthy lifestyle is no guarantee that you will never have health problems, that you'll never have to deal with illness or other underlying issues. And here's why. I bring this up because somebody was sharing with me on my natural hair care video about how they've been losing their hair in patches, like up sounded like it was right here, and their scalp's been really pink. They say it comes and goes. It has been doing this for a few years. And I simply said, and this person was wanting help, like, how can I get my hair to grow back? Well, by the description to me, that sounds like there's some kind of underlying issue. It's not about the hair itself or the scalp. It's about something else going on inside the body. And I kind of got the feeling the person might have been a little bit offended. And we do tend to get that way when we like to think that we're really healthy and we take really good care of ourselves. But unfortunately, no matter how well we try to care for ourselves, we try to eat right. We make our own medications, out of herbs, and we try to grow our own food. None of it is an absolute 100% guarantee that you'll never have to face health issues. And so, like, whatever she's going through, it could be that she's lacking certain nutrients due to the fact that she's on a plant-based diet, and she has been for several years. Sometimes plant-based diets can be great for short term, but for long term, they can cause a lot of serious health issues in a lot of people. No matter how strict and no matter how good a person is about making sure they're getting all their nutrients in other ways, there still is going to be something lacking that maybe you need. Maybe somebody else doesn't need it as much, but maybe you need, or you need specifically during a certain time of your life. Especially us women, our bodies are changing all the time as we get older. They're changing all the time. We're going through all these different changes from the time we go through puberty all the way through, and then we have babies, and then we go through menopause, and even after that, there's this constant changes our bodies are going through. So we're always having to readjust to the changes that we have. And so trying to stick to the same, especially if it's a diet that is eliminating a whole food group or is only relying on one food group, sometimes it's time to change. And that could have been healthy for you for a time, but it might not be anymore. Or the other thing is that no matter how healthy, no matter how good you are at taking good care of yourself, getting good clean water, drinking plenty of good clean water, eating as much stuff from your own organically grown produce and your own meat animals and dairy animals and so on and so forth, there are always going to be things that you cannot control. Look right there. Tina says, sometimes I just call you Tina. Is that okay? Tina Marie. Is that your real name? Is your true name Tina Marie? And is that what you prefer to be called? I just let me know, because I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Anyway, she says 13 years of plant-based diet. I lost hair, muscle mass, and it destroyed my gut. This is the common scenario I have heard over and over and over again for multiple. Tina Marie. Okay. Tina Marie, we'll do it. No problem right there. But you just forgive me if I accidentally just call you Tina for short. But yeah, I try to honor the name they like to go by. So, yeah, the plant-based thing, but it's not just the plant-based diet. Sometimes people need to do that for a time. And I know for some people, it's a moral issue. They feel that, they don't want to eat animals, and that's fine. We're all entitled to our opinions and stuff on that, and that's fine. I do truly believe, as one who's been a vegetarian for a time and a vegan for a couple times, and then went vegan again for a short period of time. After I started my channel, it wasn't because it wasn't because it was something I knew I was going to do forever. It was something I was doing short term to just kind of basically reset my body. And this is where things like plant-based diets, carnivore diets, uh, gluten-free diets, dairy-free diets, and so on can be helpful. It's really, if you're having especially gut issues and you don't know what's causing it or other type of health issues, sometimes it's good to do elimination diets of various kinds, and you're going to find what's going to work for you. Now, carnivore is the same thing. You got people that are only eating meat and animal-based products, and some people can do it for years and do great. Some people do it for a short period of time and heal some issues within their body, but when they continue on it, they start having health issues because they're missing out on some of the nutrients that are available in their veggies, and same thing the other way around. Because like someone who's on a plant-based diet and they're losing their hair and they're having a lot of skin issues, it could be because they're lacking the vitamin D3 and the B12 that cannot come from plant-based products. It has to come from animal-based products or some kind of bacteria. So a lot of times when vegans take supplements to make up for it, the supplements they're taking are either going to be synthetic or they're going to come from a bacteria grown in a lab so that they could get the B12 from it. Now, you can get B2 from plant material. But yeah, I mean, I know for me, I need that B12. And so during the times I was vegan and vegetarian in all those cases, I would feel great right for a while. And when I was doing vegetarian in my 20s, my early 20s, I think it was about 8 months in, I was like, man, I think I'm going to be a vegetarian forever because I was feeling so good. But then I think it was closer to 6 months that I started feeling a little bit of a health decline. In about 8 months, I started having fainting spells and realized that I was missing some serious nutrients. And so then, and I thought I was doing pretty good, but I thought, well, maybe I still wasn't doing it right. Because this is what people from all sides will tell you, no matter what diet it is. It's because you're doing it wrong. Not because maybe it's not right for you or you've done it for too long. Oh, it's because you're doing it wrong. That's unlikely. Because then later in my 40s, I decided to go vegan. And I'm like, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to make sure I'm getting all my nutrients. I'm eating right, blah, 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 blah. Same exact thing. Did great. Felt great for 6 months. And then my health started to decline. And about 8 months, I decided this isn't, I'm seeing the same pattern again. I was starting to get dizzy. I didn't have any fainting spells, thankfully, but I was getting to that point. My energy levels were going down, et cetera, et cetera. So I knew it was time to introduce plant-based foods back in my diet. And I started off with cheese, which one of my very favorite things, of course. And immediately, just from the moment I ate that first slice of cheese, I'm like, oh, wow, I feel so much better. And so you have to, I mean, this is kind of maybe a twofold topic, because the one thing is that, about the whole thing about diets, it's okay for a time, but you got to find the balance, and you got to realize if your health starts declining, it might not be that you're doing it wrong. It might be that you need to go back to eating an omnivore diet where you're getting all of the God-made foods, the grains, the fruits, the vegetables, yes, the greens that are now the new thing that's being demonized all over the place. It drives me crazy. The fats, all the healthy fats. And with that said, on fats, the whole seed oil demonizing thing. On one hand, yes, I get it, because a lot of seed oils you're going to buy in the store have been highly processed and so on and so forth, or they're just from things you shouldn't be consuming, like canola or soy. But it doesn't make all seed oils bad. Everything, when we're talking, things that are properly extracted, grown, etc., you're talking about, you can still have good, healthy food and have something from all food groups. Even the sugars. There's healthier sugars. You just don't want to sit down with a 1 gallon bucket of honey and eat it by the spoonful. Obviously, that would be, the Bible tells us, honey is good for you, but it also says, but too much can make you sick. It says that. So, yes, all things in moderation. And so the main topic, though, was really about the whole idea of, you can't assume that just because I've had people look at me, it's like, I was doing really, really good health wise. Once I got through that spell back years ago when I got, the EBV, Epstein-Barr virus / mono, and I was very sick for 6 months. And I had been really healthy up to that point. But there were so many things that were going on in my life right at that same time. And I was going off my thyroid medication, which probably put some stress on my body and made me more susceptible to catching, which I believe I probably got it from one of my dance students whose mom had that. And it's a lot easier to pass. People call it the kissing disease, which I think is really a misnomer because it's as easy to catch as a common cold. So I had that working against me. I had the fact that I was starting to go through the change of life. I had that working against me. And so then I got very sick. And then once I was able to get through that and get my health under control and my thyroid under control and no more on the medication, I was doing really, really good, clear up until 2021 when I got the virus. Now people are like, well, since you're so healthy and you eat so healthy, how did you get sick? Well, everybody was getting sick. Now, yeah, there's some people that managed to make it out without getting sick. But it was passed to me by a grandchild who got it from their parent who had never been vaccinated, but that's not why she got it. She got it from all her other coworkers who had been vaccinated and got it first, and then passed it to her, who passed it to my grandson, who gave it to me. I was feeling great up until then. And ever since I've had that, I'm finding I'm battling with more health issues, no matter how good I take care of myself. I just find myself, and I'm sure that, and still going through the change of life, still the menopause thing, though it's pretty much mostly behind me. There's still the hormonal changes, and all that can cause a weakening of the immune system. But mostly, what it's been for me is just stress coming from the outside. Some of the hard issues we've been dealing with, the family members that have been going through various things and me trying to help them. And all of it. That's why I was losing my hair. I'm positive that's why I lost so much hair. Thankfully, that's finally stopped. Things are starting to smooth out a little bit, but the constant stress and worry that I know I shouldn't worry, but I'm human and I still find myself worrying, even though I try really hard to just let it go, put it in God's hands, all the things, be it our finances, be it their family members, be it whatever. And just let it go. And I am getting better about it again. And that, I think, is why part of the reasons why some of my stress levels have gone down. But yes, stress is another factor. So you may not always have full control over the kind of stress you're going to be put under. If you lose a family member, or even if it's a happy thing, you got a family member getting married, like a daughter, a son getting married, that can be stressful. Or you're getting married, that can be stressful, even if it's a happy time. It still adds a certain amount of extra stress onto the body that can cause you to be more susceptible to getting sick. So just because you think you have it all figured out health-wise, you're eating right and all that, doesn't mean you're not ever going to get sick or not ever have underlying issues that could crop up. So I think I say this because people need to be realistic about everything, and also coming back to that whole, don't assume just because this plant-based diet, this carnivore diet, this gluten-free diet, this dairy-free diet, this sugar-free diet, the fat-free diet has made you feel really good for even years. If all of a sudden you're having some changes that are not right, and you're losing your hair and your skin is breaking out, or you're getting rashes, or uh, you can't sleep, or you're having digestive issues, something needs to be fixed within the body, and you got to find out what that is. And it doesn't mean you failed, because we live in a world where there's so much imperfection around us. You know, you've got toxins in your air. You can't control that. You can, I mean, okay, you can hole yourself up in the house all day with a air purifier, but you need to get out in the sun. You need to get outside. You know, we don't have control over every tiny little thing. You know, toxins in your water, whether it be your well water, city water, and you know, especially if you're on city water and they're adding fluoride, you don't have any way around that. You got that working against you. And so what we have to do is we have to do the best we can. And our bodies are intelligent and self-healing. So even with all the negativity of these other things that we're exposed to, we can still be in a lot better place by eating right and taking good care of ourselves than we would otherwise. So I don't mean to say this like, because I don't want people to take this like, well, see, even healthy people get sick. Why should I bother trying? I'll just go ahead and eat whatever I want and drink whatever I want. No, no. Because the healthier you are, the better you take care of yourself, the better your body is going to be able to deal with with that stress or whatever that illness is, or even that torn knee or broken toe. I tell you what, breaking your big toe, I have found out, is way more painful than breaking your pinky toe. I've broken my pinky toe a couple times, but when I broke the big toe, and I'm sure part of that too, part of it being that it's bigger. And also because though you need your pinky toe, you use your big toe a lot more than you do your pinky toe. Put a lot more weight on it. Anyway, so let me look at my notes. I write all this stuff down, and see, when I'm shooting my pre-recorded videos, some of the stuff I'm cutting out is like, okay, what is in my notes? What did I say? I can't cut that out of the live feed. Okay, I just want to see. So I talked about elimination diets or mono food diets. I say mono food because a lot of carnivores are just eating meat and nothing else. And I can appreciate the fact that they've healed a lot of gut issues, but there's so many good nutrients in it that they're missing out if that's all they're eating is meat. And there is such thing as protein poisoning if you're not getting enough fat and other types of good nutrients. Let's see. I think. We'll see. I'm going to read what I put here. See, no diet, no matter if it is the best for the individual, even long term, can prevent illness entirely. Okay, I just wanted to see what I said there, and I did kind of cover that. So it seemed like there was something else I was going to say. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So is Patrick in here? So Mr. Rain is in here. For those of you who may be in here and haven't been in my live shows before, that is my husband, Mr. Rain. So, I know I was going to say, so we've gone back since I found out that you can go to the History Channel online and watch all the, I don't know how many, is it the first 11 seasons of Alone for free? And I know we had watched most of them. I can't remember where, if it was through Netflix or Amazon. I don't remember where it was. And we don't have Netflix anymore. We don't have Amazon Prime anymore. Took out the trash. Things were getting too trashy, so we took out the trash. But anyway, I found you can go to the History Channel and you can watch those seasons for free. And so I'm like, yay. So we decided to go back and watch those seasons because it's my favorite survival show ever. I think my personal opinion, alone is the best, most realistic alone survival show there is. And so we went back and we watched season 1. We're currently on season 2. And in season 2, one of the contestants is Dr. Nicole. What's her last name? I know it starts with an A. Some of you might remember. She wrote a couple of herbal books. She's a doctor. And I don't think she's not a medical doctor, but she has her doctorate. I think you guys know who I'm talking about. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Apollian. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Dr. Nicole Apollian, however it's pronounced. Is it 2 P's? It's 2 P's or 1 P. Anyway, she's in that. She's in the second season of Alone. So she's one of the contestants and doing really great. And she made it a point to say in there, as you know, she knows the healing herbs. That was great. She found the yarrow growing wild. She found plantain growing wild and was going on about that. And I'm like, oh, so cool. You know, because these are things obviously I grow and collect and dry and put up. But anyway, she had a gill net and she was catching a lot of salmon. She was doing really good with the salmon, catching the salmon. So she's just like, and they were big ones. And so she was feasting on the salmon, feasting on the salmon. But then she goes, I really need to go out and find some greens. I mean, the meat's great. That's great. But you still got to get those good nutrients that are in your greens. And so she went out and she was finding the plantain and other things. So yeah, it's something like, you got to be careful. It's not like The Lost Ways, but there's something like, it's got a similar name. The Lost Ways it's a scam. I have a video I did on that. Total scam. You got to be careful you're getting the right one. So at any rate, and I'm like, yes, exactly. I mean, all that meat's great. It's healthy, but you still have to, there's still going to be nutrients you're going to miss from the greens. She specifically said greens, which is one of the current things, as I said a little bit ago, that people are just like, oh, that's evil. That's wrong. We can't have greens. And I mean, now we're demonizing greens. Okay. First it was the meat, and it was the dairy, and, and this and that, and everything's being demonized. And so now I have nothing left to eat because everybody's telling me all these foods are bad for me. The seeds, the nuts, the this, the that. I don't know if it's lost herbs. I think you said it right. It's something like, it's just not what I'm saying. It's not, you don't want to get The Lost Ways that was highly promoted. That was a scam. I think her book is green with gold. I don't have it. I keep saying I'm going to buy it. I want to get it at some point, but I'm trying to watch my spending right now. At any rate, yeah, you just got to make sure you're getting the right one. So, darn it, I got distracted again. But yeah, I think there's the importance of having a well-rounded diet. We're created to be omnivores. And despite what anyone thinks, we are. And yes, I believe certain elimination diets or monofood diets can be good for a time. But you're still going to be missing out on a lot of things. Everybody's just freaking out about the oxalates. I always say it wrong. Is it oxalates or oxalates? I think it's oxalates. Everybody's freaking out about those. But you know what? We didn't used to freak out about those, and we were just fine. Mostly because we typically would cook those things that are high in those. And so it's not a concern. If you're cooking it, it lowers it incredibly. It's the oxalate thing is a matter of getting too much. You just don't want to get too much. That's why pokeweed, people boil it like 3 times. And what else? The dock. That's another one. It needs to be cooked first, but you can eat it. So instead of living in fear of the things that we can grow naturally and that are God-given and haven't been processed down to nothing till there's nothing left in them, maybe just learn how to prepare the stuff properly and to also just learn how to use moderation, that's where you're going to be the healthiest. So yeah, I kind of went on to went on to that. It does fit right into that topic though. So let's see. She has several books. All are some form of lost book of. Yeah, I know there's at least two of them, Michelle, that are lost book of something. But it's been commonly confused, and I think this was part of the scam, getting confused with this whole Lost Ways book is a complete scam. And what they've done is they're not, you can buy the book from two different sources and end up with two totally different books. And they've taken stuff and just put it haphazardly in a book. And no, it's all, I talk about it in that video I did, because we ended up with two different books like that, because we thought, oh, no, don't fall for the scam. So at any rate, I guess that's what I'm trying to say is I get like for instance, there was somebody that I had that picture of zucchini. It was the picture of the first zucchini that was really starting to get some size in my garden that I'd posted on my main channel in the community section, the post section. It was just a picture. It was just a picture, because I'd promised I was going to post a picture from my garden or some garden related thing every day that whole week for the whole 7 days. And I'm like, oh, here's a zucchini. That will be one of my pictures. Happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday, whatever day that was. And somebody says they were trying to be nice about it. I just wanted to let you know why I'm unsubscribing from your channel. It's because I'm a carnivore now. And I'm like, what does a picture of a zucchini have anything to do with that? Oh, you can't follow me anymore because I eat vegetables and meat? Just like some of the vegans that are like, I'm not going to follow you because I'm a vegan. But I've got good vegetarians and vegans that follow me, and they love me, and they follow me for years. Because you know what? They understand that I have other information. I do talk about vegetables. I do even have recipes on how to make vegan things, like make your own nut milks and how to take that and turn that into an Alfredo sauce for your fettuccine. I have things like that. Because I was once vegan and I was once vegetarian, and so I learned a little bit on how to do some of that stuff during that time. And I think to unsubscribe or totally throw somebody away because they don't have the same diet as you is pretty dang silly. And what's going to happen when you realize that though the carnivore diet is really good for you right now, maybe a year from now, maybe 10 years from now, you realize, gosh, I was really lacking in certain minerals that can only be found in the greens that I stopped eating because I was taught that they were really bad for me. Talk about lacking diversity and inclusion. No kidding. That was a good one. That's a good one. So at any rate, I want to make us clear. Oh, golly, Heidi, why are you forcing them to take in every single video? That's another thing too. It's like, I have other videos. It's like the vegans that have followed me for years. They just don't watch my videos on how to make a pork-free sausage, or how to make whatever, how to roast a chicken in a solar oven. They know better than to watch those videos because they're not obviously going to apply to them. It's silly. But, it's just that mentality though. And I see it from all sides, no matter what diet a person is on. If they're on this diet, then all of this food over here is evil and wicked and bad for you, and you will die. If you're eating all this food over here, then maybe this food over here is evil and bad. Anyway, okay. I'm ranting. Excuse me. It's what I do best. Anyway, you must be killing them when you're talking about putting up your roosters. So yeah, Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't get any hate for that post. I was waiting. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have the vegans that hate to see this kind of stuff, and they're just gonna come in and they're gonna bash me up one side, down the other, like they do sometimes. Nope, nothing but good stuff. So if you guys missed it, I I put that post on my community section. What was it? It was Friday morning that we took out those young roosters. And then that night I wrapped up the ones we weren't going to eat right away, and the other one went into the oven with some potatoes from the garden. And I made sure that all the vegetables on the plate were from the garden. Even the seasoned salt I used in it was homemade, not homegrown. Obviously, I don't grow salt. But it's my own homemade seasoned salt and some of my homemade homegrown herbs like thyme and sage and golden oregano. Yeah, it was great. It's such a good feeling. You don't enjoy the process of having to take them out, but once you're done, it's like, I've got this meat in my freezer. This is meat that I raised myself from my own chickens, that the eggs that, they had the eggs. I hatched them out. I raised them. I fed them. I made sure they ate good. The hens that I got from that hatching are obviously for eggs. And then the roosters were for meat. We don't grow meat birds, by the way. So meat birds take a lot. Meat birds get to full size. I think it's like 6 weeks. They're ready to butcher. And I'm like, man, chickens that are not meat birds don't mature that quickly to get that size. So when did I hatch these guys out? Was it I think it was either April or May. And they're still not full size yet. They still were not. So they're not huge, but it was like, man, it's getting noisy back there. It's getting noisy. Some of them are starting to crow. Some of them are going after the other hens. And it was getting noisy. And we were going through so much feed. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. How much feed? Teenage boys. It's no different when they're chickens than when they're humans when it comes to how much food they eat. So anyway, I don't remember if there was anything else I had to say. I think I covered everything else I was going to say at the intro. I'm just kind of bummed I didn't have 3 topics for today like I'd planned, since I was like, wait a minute, didn't I just do a video on storing grains and flours? And I think the reason I thought of it was because I will say this, because I don't know if I covered this in my last one because I didn't go watch it. But I get a lot of people asking me if they can vacuum seal flour into jars, for long-term storage. You can. I don't. Because I like to put up I don't do that with grains either, because I'm putting up, 50-pound bags worth of grains and flours at a time. Yes, I have grains where I mill up my own flour, but I also like to have a good quality organic unbleached white flour, because I don't like the whole grain flour for everything. So I get the unbleached organic white flour from Azure Standard now. Love it. It's great flour. And so yes, you could store it and you could vacuum seal it, but there's 2 things. One is, if you're wanting to put up a lot of flour and grains like I do, you're going to need a lot of big jars and a lot of room. And I'm not doing that. But the other thing is, if maybe you don't need to put up as much flour, then you would have to, because it's powdery, you'd have to make sure that you put some kind of barrier over the top of the flour. So you got your flour in there. Whenever I'm vacuum sealing a powdery thing, I use a piece of cotton cloth that I lay over the top of the powder. Then you put the lid on, making sure none of that cotton cloth is sticking, or whatever you're using for your barrier. It can be a muffin liner. It can be a coffee filter. It can be a chunk of paper towel. You don't want any of that sticking out from under the lid. Put that lid on, vacuum seal it. And the reason for that is because if you don't have that barrier, when you go to vacuum seal it, it's going to pull the powdery substance, be it powdered milk, flour, peanut butter powder, whatever it is, out from under the lid, cocoa powder, out from under the lid, and make a coating on the rim of the jar. And then you're not going to get a good seal. It either won't seal at all, or it'll seal, but it's not a good hard seal, and it will come unsealed very, very quickly. Mrs. Raining Rants. Very funny, Patrick. So, yeah. Now, if anybody, if I try to scroll back, I'm going to probably lose a lot of stuff. I'll scroll back a little bit. But if anybody has any questions for me, you can go ahead and ask. I'll hang out here for a little while. We haven't been cut off. Usually, if we're this far in and I haven't got cut off, it's usually not going to happen. Usually. I need to I need to do that lip pucker? What lip pucker is that? I mean, I know I'm always like pursing my lips. Sometimes I'm editing some of my videos and I say something wrong and I get irritated at myself, and I got that pursed lip thing, and I'm like, it reminds me of my mother. I look so much like my mother when she'd be irritated at me. Okay, a little elderberry tincture spray. Coming in late. I say you are, but busy day. I get it. Yeah, I tell you, one thing I really like about Sundays doing the live shows and having them kind of at this time of the day is that I have all this time in the morning to get a whole bunch of stuff done. I still got a bunch of stuff yet to do, but because I got dishes I got to do, because I usually do those after I get done with my live show. And then I got to make some egg roll wraps because I plan on making egg rolls for dinner tonight. Yay, because it dawned on me, oh, I haven't made those in a long time. Those sound really good. So I'm making egg rolls for dinner. But I was able to get up and what'd I do? I got the tomatoes pureed up, and then in my dehydrator, along with the last little bit of zucchini that I'm going to dehydrate, because I've almost got my third jar of dehydrated zucchini. It's just that much space left. So the bottom tray in there has the zucchini and the rest is tomatoes. So I got that going, and Patrick and I went out and picked a bunch more plums. You might have seen the photo on the main channel. And I got some more of those canned up. So that was my second batch that I canned up. I think I might still do one more batch of plums. And then, yeah, so I got that done, got some laundry done and folded. I mean, I was just able to I know I did a bunch more that I'm forgetting. What else did I do? Oh, I took some of the plums and some raw honey and some whipping cream and made some frozen treats. Oh, and some homemade vanilla extract. So I actually did a video years ago of doing a plum ginger frozen fruit smoothie. I don't think I used vanilla in that one, but I used ginger. But in this one, I decided vanilla instead of ginger. But the ginger is a nice touch for a plum if you're using plums. Not sure if I'll make more plum hot sauce because I don't go through it that fast, but that was partly what made me think of the egg rolls, because a few years ago I also did a video on making, if you watch tomorrow's video, the this and that, I talk about the plum hot sauce and I link to it in that video tomorrow. The this and that. I need to go see what I have of that, but I just kind of created this plum. It's kind of has an Asian type flair to it, and I made it so it would go good with egg rolls, because one sauce you can buy at the store is really good, is from the Philippines. It's more their style, and it's a banana sauce, and I really like that, but it is really good with egg rolls or spring rolls. But I'm like, I want to make my own. And I've got plums, because even though this is our first year getting a good harvest off our plum tree, the original plum tree, the start of it came from our neighbor back behind us. And he would just he finally took out his plum trees because he'd get so many plums, he just couldn't, so many that he was just like, he couldn't keep up with them and he couldn't get enough people to come take them. But I'd get his plums. And so I was so I came up with that plum hot sauce recipe, and then I was making the plum frozen trees. I think I might have done some jam, like, I don't remember for sure. I know I've used plums to make with some rose petals and made a plum rose mead out of them years ago. So, yeah, they're pretty good plums. And that's the thing. I was kind of excited about having that because I know how productive his plum tree was. So I was surprised that. So what? Okay, so what happened? People keep asking, well, how old is that plum tree? Well, first he gave us a start. It was basically just a stick, and it was starting to get some growth on it. And so we just put it in a pot out back because I was at the time wasn't sure where I'd want it to go. And it was in there for years and it started getting plums, but because it was in a pot, it would only get a few. I'm like, okay, it's time for us to get this plum tree now that we had removed the cedar trees out front and the ash tree. Then I finally had room to move it out front. But after we moved it out there, it took years for it to finally, like another 3 or 4 years for it to finally get its first flowers. I'm like, I thought it would I could see maybe 1 year, but I was sure it would kind of take right off. But no, it took a while. It got flowers last year, but we had a late freeze. So this year, thankfully, we didn't have a late freeze. So we got plums and I'm very thrilled. Don't know what kind of plum it is for sure. But yeah, it's a pretty color. I love it when I can it. The skin, obviously, is kind of gold on the inside, but the skin, that color of the skin when I can it just makes it so pretty. Love it. And my hands actually, I don't know if you can tell, my hands are stained a little bit just from handling those this morning. Kind of got a little bit of a reddish tone to them. So, roasting tomatoes to can today. I got a big bunch of seconds from the farmers. Oh, nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, who's making my husband cry? He probably deserves it. But I think you are cracking McCracken jokes all the time. You both crack me up. That made you cry, Mr. Rain? Stop being so sensitive, or I'll make you cry. Oh, canning green beans. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I got some canned up. I decided because my green beans are really like a lot of things, or like a lot of my garden is 2 weeks to a whole month behind. And the green beans it's because our weather's been so weird. Cold, 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 hot, then cold, 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 hot. The hot's like a really short period. And so I think it's just really got a lot of my plants confused. I mean, even my zucchini, normally I just tons of zucchini. I'm not getting that much zucchini, which is fine. I'll have enough put up and enough to use fresh. I'll be fine with what we got. But it's just like, normally by this point, I'm just giving zucchinis away. And it's crazy. But I know it's because of the confusion of the weather. I mean, it was so cold. Just over a week ago, I felt like building the fire. And then yesterday, it was cold enough to build the fire. And then today, it's warm and it's supposed to get hot again. So, yeah. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that instead of doing what I normally do with my green beans and wait until I've got enough to do 16 pints and fill up my big canner, because the All American, the two biggest ones, you can stack jars. You can even stack the quart jars because they're big enough to do that with. Normally, that's what I do, and do at least one big batch like that. One batch of 16 is usually good. Sometimes maybe another, and then let the rest dry and have the dry beans. Well, they're so far behind and coming in much slower this year, that I'm like, I got the small canner out and it's just been really nice and it heats up so much quicker than the big one. I'm just going to do smaller batches. And then I don't have to stress out about, wait, I got waiting until I have 16 jars. And so it's working out really nice for me. So tomorrow I should have enough beans to do another small batch and then hopefully one more small batch. But I was really thrilled to see that even though I didn't do a garden last year, I start, because now's the time, you start canning, you start rearranging your pantry and rotating everything. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, I have a lot more beans from 2023, 2022, and 2021 that I didn't realize I had. I'm like, how did the 2021 beans get missed? And so either I just didn't get to them because I was so far ahead on the green beans, but I think I counted 19 jars altogether. First, I found a dozen from 2023, but then I'm like, oh, I still have a dozen beans from 2023. Then I found some from 2022 and 2021 that somehow I didn't see. And so now I got everything properly rotated. So all the oldest ones are on the top, and then the newest ones go on the bottom underneath that. So even if I didn't can any beans this year, and I didn't can any last year, I was still being frugal on the green beans though, just in case. But I didn't need to be. But yeah, that's the thing though. I want enough of our favorite whatevers to get us through 2 to 3 years. Even if it's stuff that we grow and grow well, because any year it can happen that that thing is not going to do great for you for some reason. It could be the weather, whatever. It's just like the zucchini. I'm glad I had enough zucchini dried up to get us through all of last year with me not putting a garden in, plus up till now. And now I'm able to get enough zucchini to get us through another year or two. So that's how I try to do things, at least of the things I can grow well. And I think I might go ahead and, since potatoes, I still have so many potatoes to dig up. I think I might go ahead and can a few more jars of the potatoes, because there's still a lot more out there I need to dig up. I'm just not in a hurry. Oh, my pumpkins are doing really good. I got 12. That's good. That's plenty. That's enough pumpkins to get us through a few years. So once those are ready, I'll be cooking them and dehydrating them and making the pumpkin powder. And I still have lots of pumpkin powder from the previous years. So it's great. I like to have plenty, even though I don't use it up as fast as I should. I'm a little, but enough to make pies. So last year was my first year making a pumpkin pie from the dehydrated pumpkin. Oh my goodness, it was so good. It's the only way I want to make my pumpkin pie from now on. But I do like to use it in making the cookies and the dips and the various other things. And even I've even made pumpkin creamsicles. And not using the dried, just using fresh, but anything you can use cooked pumpkin for, you can use the dehydrated pumpkin powder for. I love it. And just takes up so little space. I can't remember how many pumpkins you can, how many pumpkins you can fit into a jar once you've cooked them down. And I only grow the pie pumpkins, the small ones, just because of our short growing season for one. But I like them. But even though they're pie pumpkins and they're smaller, some of them are like this big. That's a pretty good size for a pie pumpkin. So I'm really happy with my pumpkins this year. Just doing great. And here's the thing about gardening. I'm going to go talk about this more in as a separate topic, but we can get all bummed out about, oh, this year my tomatoes didn't do good, or this year I didn't get any plums on my tree, or this year my apples I'm just getting so little of a harvest. But for one, if you're putting up as much of your excess as you can, you usually can be covered for the bad years. But also, I always find there's something that makes up the difference of the things that didn't do so well. So maybe this year my zucchini isn't doing as good as it normally does. My pumpkins are doing way better this year than they've done in a while. My beans might not be doing so good, but hey, I got plums on my tree for the first time. Or first time in a long time, and enough plums to actually harvest and do something with instead of just eating off the tree. Uh, so there's a lot of things like that you'll find. And and as easy as it can be to get discouraged about the things that aren't doing as good, usually we can find something that did do good. Because the colder years, like this has been a colder summer for us. I mean, we usually have cool summers anyway, but this has been an especially cold summer. All if you put it all together. I mean, if in August it can be cold enough to build a fire to warm up the house, that's a cold summer. But then the next day can be blazing hot. But anyway, you're going to have some things that just don't know how to handle that. But there's some things that are like, hey, we like this. We like the weather like this. And so it all makes up the difference. And so then it's like, okay, good. That means I can put up a lot of plums this year. I can't guarantee I'll have any next year because maybe we'll have a late freeze again, but I can put up plums this year and that's what I'm going to do. And so, you can still find joy in this, even in the things that end up being a little disappointing. So, yeah. And by the way, I'm going to come back to these little gloves. So, if anyone's interested in purchasing any of these fingerless gloves, so 100% cotton, it's the first time I've made them in just cotton. And so, like I said, it's if you're in the United States, it's $35 a pair, and it's that includes shipping. And so you have to email me at raincountryhomestead@gmail.com. So I'll show you the colors I have so far. Well, I think I'm just going to do the 8 pairs for now. So I have the dark green, the faded denim. So it's kind of got different shades of denim in there. I've got this. It's called Terra Firma. So it's kind of got a darker brown, but this is a nice fall color. I really like this one. It's my favorite. The burgundy, which is also another good fall and winter color. The coral. This is called Crown Jewels. And then the Emerald Isle, which is mostly shades of green, a little bit of teal. So, yeah, so email me, and I'll have the black pair. That's the pair I'm working on right now. I just barely got started on it on the first one. So I won't be done with that right away. And I don't know that I'll do a lot of custom orders. I don't know yet. It's all going to depend on right now. I'm just trying to use the yarn I have because I don't want to invest in a bunch of yarn until I see how well these are going to do. Because like I said, normally I do these in acrylic and sell them for less. But I started thinking, man, some people would probably really appreciate having 100% cotton, a natural fabric, and not plastic. I kind of forget. Yes. I actually made these. I have small hands. These are actually a little loose on me. You probably can't tell. But because it's cotton, it does stretch. And then if they end up getting a little too big for somebody, you can wash them and dry them, and then they'll shrink down. So I think this pair especially was a little bit bigger. So I used kind of bigger hooks on them to make sure that they would fit a broader array of hands. So let's see. Dishwashing glove. I think I've seen those. Yeah, maybe that'd be an idea. I don't know that. I'm kind of thinking maybe if these go over well, possibly doing some of I got a couple of different hat designs that I make. Maybe doing some of those in cotton for those who want, some hats that are not out of acrylic or polyester. It's just I got to charge more because cotton yarn is more expensive than the acrylic yarn, obviously. And you're kind of limited to how many different, usually can't get as many different colors in the cotton. But anyway, I just want to see how they'll do. And let's see, did I talk about everything? I talked about everything. I think I chatted enough. It's already been almost an hour and a half. We only have friendly bees, so no cross pollination. Tyler. Well, we had some bald-faced hornets around here. I've seen them here, and then at our other piece of property, it's like, man, where are all these hornets coming from? I don't really like those coming around. We get a lot of the, yeah, I can do matching. I just don't know if I'm going to do the matching hat right now. I'm just going to start with the gloves and see how they do. I just, like I said, it costs so much money to stock up on yarn like this. And I don't want to, I just can't afford right now to put my money into stocking up on a bunch of yarn just to not have the stuff sell well and not have a good use for it. I mean, not that I wouldn't have a good use for it. I'm always crocheting, but I just don't want to. I don't want to spend the money right now on stocking up on too much yarn. Besides, I do have quite a bit of cotton, but I don't have a lot of each of these colors on hand. And some of them I need for making because I use the cotton, like a lot of these same colors I use for making the skillet handle covers, which is why I have a lot of these on hand. So that's the other thing I do. Bald-faced hornets. I feel like I sleep beside one there. Well, that sounds kind of scary. Oh my goodness. But yeah, we get yellow jackets all the time, constantly making nests out here and nests back there, and just outside the greenhouse, sometimes even in the greenhouse. If it's early enough in the season, they'll go in the greenhouse and start making them in there. But then of course it gets too hot in there for them. But man, it's just all over with those, with the wasps. But thankfully we have lots of honeybees too. So honeybees and the little bumblebee bees, the little fuzzy flying teddy bear bees. Because I know they're not all technically bumblebees. I don't know if the ones we get around here are actually bumblebees, but they're the fuzzy ones. They're smaller than like your standard bumblebee. That's just like really big and ba-doop, 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 ba-doop. That's the one. If you saw the post I made the other day of the echinacea flower, the one that was on there. Bald-faced liar. Oh my goodness, you guys. So I should probably get going, Pueblos. I have lots of stuff to do. Thankfully, I got a lot of stuff done though before I came on. The time just works out really good for me. But yeah, so like I said, dishes, and I got to go make and roll out I already got the filling for the egg rolls made, but I got to do the wraps. By the way, I have a video on how to make the egg roll wraps if you're interested. It's really easy. You only need, it's just flour and water. You don't even have to add salt. You obviously don't add any kind of leaven to it. It's just basically flour and water, and just roll them out really thin. And then wrap your stuff, and we like to fry them. So fry them in coconut oil. That's the best way. If you fry them in coconut oil, that helps it hold the crispness. So if you have leftovers, they can still be a little crispy the next day. Coconut oil is the only oil that will do that I've found. And it's on the healthier side. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. I guess I'll get off here and quit rambling your ears. Hopefully you guys have 2 ears each, and that would make for a lot of ears. So anyway, I hope you all have a great day and a great rest of your week. Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate you guys being here and supporting me and showing me love and all that stuff. You just really help me out a lot. You really do. You probably don't realize it, but you do. You help me a lot. These times of just, sometimes like 2 weeks ago, I was just kind of pouring I didn't mean to. I felt kind of bad trauma dumping on everybody, but you know what? It kind of helps me de-stress, and I love it. And then sometimes we just laugh. Like I still sometimes laugh about the good, because it sucks being number 2 on the ratings. That's still, I think about that and start laughing all over again. So I love you guys. Take care. God bless. See ya.